before me have been a bit apt as an introduction to this one. The title is But the Patriarchy is Dead. Woo! People think that patriarchy is an outdated concept. It's one that belongs with arranged marriages and women being shackled to the house. Women can work now. They can even leave their asshole husbands. War over. But always, from a very young age, you are told to sit legs crossed, mouth shut, folded in very small and tight, while the asshole next to you on the bus gets to spread his legs 3 seats wide. Growing up, my brothers had food piled high onto their plates, but whenever I tried to take a second helping, I was told that I would be getting fat. But maybe this is just a mother showing her concern, they may say. Your parents then teach you to hate the body that they gave you. 10 years old and I was already using skin whitening lotions. I mean, have you seen my skin? Trying to get rid of the freckles that dotted my skin. My aunt told me not to drink Horlicks because it would turn me yellow. My mother passed me cellulite cream when I was 15. I have heard stories of mothers bringing their 10-year-old fucking daughters for Brazilian waxes because their hair was dirty. But the war is over. As a child, you are told that the love of a woman would always be able to change a man. Kiss enough toads and you'll be able to eventually get a prince. Beasts can be transformed into princes if you show them enough kindness. So you then settle for a building project, hoping that he would change. But how is he ever supposed to change if nobody has ever expected him to? Boys will be boys, they will say, and there it is. That golden excuse when your classmate pulls your pigtail or sneaks spiders into your pencil case. When they don't turn in their homework, you are the one yelled at longer and louder. When you are scolded for having ugly handwriting or a boy's handwriting, but nobody says anything about the boy next to you. When your brother leaves his laundry on the floor, dishes in the sink, and you're the one who has to clean it up, you are told that it is normal for a girl to wait every date because for some reason, your time is never as important as his, or because you were never important enough for him to be early. Your father might splurge money on watercolor paints he stops using after a week, or a motorcycle he doesn't touch after a couple of months, while your mother pays the bills, buys treats for the children. But boys will be boys. You come home one day to a crying mother who tells you that her husband is a bully and that all men are still little boys at heart. You think of the boys in your school and then you shudder. After shouting at you for bad grades, your father then tells you that only a mother's love is unconditional. But the war is over. Google defines abuse as to be treated with violence and cruelty. But people keep forgetting that it's not always about curled fists and petal skin. It's not always about raised voices. It is about learning to swallow the word no before it can even begin to round your mouth. It's about learning that to love means to sacrifice, but only ever a woman's love means to give and to give in. So this is what you keep doing. You cannot call your parents cruel, for they are only saying the things that they know how to say. So you listen to them, and you begin cutting off the pieces of yourself so you can tell yourself that you fit. You start with the small things, your voice, so you keep quiet at meal times while unspoken questions begin to crowd out the peace. Your hair. My father threw a fit once, my sister cropped hers. Once a boy told me that he would only date girls with long hair, so I let mine grow from my chin so it curled down my back, hoping it would tangle itself around him. You throw away your makeup because he tells you to, or give away the clothes that he tells you are too short or too tight. You don't go home one night and your father calls you a comfort woman. Meanwhile, your mother asks why your brothers don't have girlfriends. There is someone who mocks a girl for her ugly eyebrows. You tell him to stop. You tell him that her eyebrows are her business and not his. You try to tell him what microaggressions are, but all he does is say that he was making a joke. He's not a misogynist. He cares about women, but a joke is a joke, and do we now have to care about the hurt feelings of every single person in the name of making good humor? Somehow he manages to drag a chair's feelings into the discussion, ask what he has to ask all furniture if they are hurt before he can make a joke about them. He turns it around, makes it the butt of his joke. His friends applaud him and say that he should be a debater. Your tongue has forked into 100 blades, fighting to come past your lips, so you can rip him apart for his height, his weight, his stupidity, so you can perhaps feel maybe a tenth of the hurt that you have felt when people have done the same to you. But you swallow them down because that is what you have been trained to do. Boys will be boys. You read somewhere that we only ever choose the love that we deserve, but it doesn't feel like you have very many choices. Your boyfriend says, please. You say no. He says, but all I want to do is show you how much I love you. He does this until you give in because that is what you have been taught to do. One day a friend of yours pins you down stinking of whiskey. You cry and he asks you to stop. He doesn't stop. Afterwards, when you refuse to speak to him, he says, God, woman, when are you ever going to get over it? You feel bad because he sounds genuinely worried, wounded, and you reach out with the open palm society has taught you that you as a woman need to have. Months after, he apologizes and says he only wanted to hurt you for not choosing him. You can only smile and apologize because this is what you have been taught to do. War over. This is not all biographical. This was a bunch of things woven from things that people constantly tell me or have read on the internet or what people feel that women's normal experiences are. This was inspired by a friend who wrote a very horrifying piece about the many abusive relationships we've had with her father, her uncle, and various boyfriends, including some very graphic discussions of having Coke bottles, like glass Coke bottles, stuffed up places that shouldn't be stuffed up in. So, the horrifying part was reading these things and recognizing that, that was maybe one extreme end of the section. But all the things that she went through were things that I've heard, hundreds of girls go through all over the world. So I tried to, piece something together. And I'm fairly sure there are a lot of women in the world who can probably relate to this piece. So, patriarchy not dead.